The stars above the sector glimmered like distant diamonds, but for the survivors of the Coalition fleet they offered no comfort. Silence had replaced the usual chatter of space traffic. The once proud alliance of alien civilizations now drifted like lost ships in a stormy ocean. The Oblivion Swarm, a force of living machines with no mercy, had destroyed their fleet in hours. Entire planets had been consumed. Worlds that had stood for millennia were now nothing but cold ashes. Commander Valera of the Varelian Navy sat on the edge of her ship's command chair, her tentacles trembling. Her species, known for discipline and resilience, had survived countless skirmishes, but nothing could have prepared her for this. The swarm had arrived without warning, their numbers overwhelming, their weapons devastating. The Coalition fleet, their combined pride, had crumbled. "This was supposed to be impossible," whispered Lieutenant Kale, the young strategist at her side. His eyes were wide as he scanned the empty starfield. Every plan, every defensive position, gone in an instant. Valera shook her head. "Impossible is what we believed before the swarm arrived. Now it is reality." She exhaled slowly. "We can't return to homeworlds. They are all destroyed." The small group of survivors floated in their battered ship, a cruiser patched together from the remains of their fleet. Their sensors flickered, struggling to detect life beyond the wreckage. The usual beeping of communication systems was replaced by the hollow silence of loss. A sudden alert made them jump. The ship's sensors had detected an unusual signal, a faint pulse from the depths of the void. It was not a distress call nor a standard communication from any known civilization. The alien stared at the display, puzzled. "Scan it again," Valera ordered, her voice steady despite the fear inside her. Kyle's claws hovered over the controls. "It's unusual. Energy readings are off the charts. Nothing in our database matches it. It's moving. Fast. Faster than any ship we've ever tracked." "Could it be another swarm force?" Valera asked. Her mind raced through possibilities. The swarm had shown no mercy before. They would not hesitate to finish them off. Kale shook his head. "Too precise. Too deliberate. The swarm doesn't act like this. It hunts, it destroys. It doesn't signal." Valera leaned forward, gripping the console. A strange feeling stirred inside her, a mixture of dread and hope. Could something, anyone be out there that could save them? The ship drifted toward the source of the signal. Hours passed in tense silence. The crew exchanged few words. Every sound felt amplified in the quiet cabin. The void stretched infinitely around them, dark and cold, yet somehow alive with unseen possibilities. Finally, a shadow appeared on the sensors. A massive ship, unlike anything the survivors had ever seen. Its design was sleek and alien, yet somehow familiar. The hull shimmered with a faint light as if it absorbed the stars themselves. It moved with purpose, cutting through the emptiness as though space itself obeyed it. Valera felt her heart tighten. What is that?" Kale's mouth was dry. I don't know. Nothing in our records. It's not Coalition. It's not Swarm. It's something else." The ship drew closer. Its weapons, if any, were hidden. Its shield seemed immense. And then, unexpectedly, a communication attempt came through. A voice strong and clear filled the cabin. Not in any language the aliens knew, yet somehow they understood its meaning. "Survivors," it said. "We see you. You are not alone." Valera blinked. What kind of machine speaks to us like this? It's not a machine," Kale muttered, his antennae trembling. "I don't know, but it is intelligent." The unknown ship halted in front of their cruiser. Its hull opened slightly, a docking bay forming. From inside, figures emerged, not the swarm, not the usual Coalition species. They were humanoids, standing upright on two legs. Their armor was strong but flexible, and their eyes shone with determination. They moved with speed and grace, yet their presence radiated calm control. Valera swallowed hard. She had seen many brave aliens, many commanders who led fleets with courage, but there was something different about these beings, something human. A small craft detached from the ship, moving toward their cruiser. Its engines left a soft hum, barely disturbing the void. The humans aboard extended a hand in greeting. Gestures were simple, clear, universal. They didn't demand submission. They didn't threaten. They offered help. Valera took a deep breath. She hadn't felt hope in days, maybe centuries if measured in the stories of her people. But this felt like a lifeline. The humans docked with the cruiser and their crew moved quickly. They assessed the damaged systems, repaired weapons, and reinforced shields. The aliens watched in awe as they worked. Every move was precise, every decision quick but calculated. There was no panic, no hesitation, just action. Hours passed. The human captain, a tall figure with brown hair and bright eyes, finally spoke through the universal translator device. "You are safe for now," he said simply. "We can take you out of danger, but you need to come with us. You can fight another day, but only if you survive." Valera nodded. We have no choice." She turned to her small crew. "Trust them for now. We must trust humans." As they followed the humans into the larger ship, the survivors could see the scale of its capabilities. Fighters were stored in hidden bays. Repair droids worked alongside crew members, and every corridor seemed alive with energy. Humans moved efficiently, communicating with gestures, voice, and technology in a way that left the aliens in silent admiration. Then, a warning alert blared. The swarm had detected them. Ships appeared on the sensors, dark and endless, like a black tide rolling through the void. The aliens froze, but the humans acted immediately. "Hold on," shouted the captain. "We're not letting them take anyone today." In an instant, humans began coordinating defenses, deploying fighter drones, activating shields, and launching counterattacks with unmatched precision. The aliens watched as the humans fought, not recklessly, not blindly, but with intelligence, creativity, and bravery. Every move was designed to protect life, to ensure survival, not just to win. Valera felt something stirring inside her. Hope. Real, burning hope. She realized that these humans, these beings from a distant corner of the galaxy, were unlike anything the aliens had ever seen. They weren't just fighters. They were protectors, innovators, leaders. The battle passed, and though the swarm retreated, the aliens were left breathless. They had survived. They had a chance. And it was because of humans. Kale turned to Valera, eyes wide. Did they just save us?" Valera placed a hand on his shoulder. "Yes, and if we follow them, we may yet save ourselves and others, perhaps even fight back." As the human warship prepared to move deeper into the void, the survivors of the Coalition fleet looked on with a mixture of fear and wonder. The galaxy was still dangerous, and the Oblivion swarm still hunted them. But for the first time, they realized that humans, strong, brave, and unpredictable humans, might be the key to survival. And somewhere deep in the ship, the human captain looked at the aliens and smiled. He didn't say anything, words weren't needed. Humans acted not for glory, not for power, but because it was right. For the aliens, the void no longer felt empty. It felt alive with possibility. For the first time since the swarm had appeared, they believed that maybe, just maybe, all hope was not lost. The survivors of the Coalition fleet were quiet as they followed the human warship deeper into the void. Their small cruiser had been repaired enough to survive, but it still depended entirely on the humans' guidance. Commander Valera felt a mix of awe and unease. The void stretched endlessly ahead, dark and cold, yet it no longer felt like a place of despair. For the first time in days, maybe weeks, there was possibility. The humans moved with an energy the aliens had never seen. Every corridor hummed with life. Every corner had a purpose. Engineers adjusted systems as if the ship were alive, while officers coordinated navigation with speed and precision. It was both beautiful and terrifying. Kale, the young strategist, studied them closely. "I don't understand," he whispered to Valera. "How do they manage all this, and so calmly? No panic, no confusion, it's perfect." Valera's tentacles flexed nervously. "It is not perfect. Nothing is perfect. But they are effective. And that is enough for now." Hours passed as they traveled. The humans explained little at first. Words were limited, and alien comprehension was still slow, but gestures, technology, and simple phrases allowed communication. The humans called it a rescue mission, though it felt like much more. They had a plan, and it was unlike anything the aliens could imagine. Suddenly, the ship's sensors detected movement, faster than anything the aliens had seen. Small dots appeared in the distance, spreading like a net. The Oblivion swarm. "They've found us," Kale muttered, his voice tight with fear. The tiny cruiser's shields flickered under the stress of the human ship's protective maneuvers. We We cannot outrun them. Not now. The human captain appeared, tall and confident, with a calm that made Valera both frustrated and relieved. Yes, he said, voice firm. They've found us, but we will not let them catch you. Trust us. Move with us, and we survive. Valera looked at her small crew. Fear lingered, but she saw something else too: determination. Humans fought differently than any species she had known. They didn't rely on overwhelming numbers or brute force. They relied on creativity, coordination, and courage. The swarm ships began their assault. Energy beams lanced across the void, striking the human warship with deadly precision. Aliens watched in horror as the humans deployed countermeasures: drones, shields, and tactical diversions. Each movement was calculated, almost like a dance in the deadly light. Kale gasped. How do they survive? Valera's eyes followed a group of human fighters as they swooped through the enemy lines. Because they think differently, she said softly. They do not fight like us. They do not fight to destroy. They fight to protect. The humans moved with unity, saving not only themselves, but also the small alien cruiser. At one point, a swarm ship struck dangerously close, and the humans made a maneuver that seemed reckless. But it worked. The swarm was distracted, giving the aliens a chance to escape harm. Hours turned into a tense day as they traveled. The aliens began to notice more about the humans: how they repaired damage even while under fire, how they coordinated repairs, how they stayed calm even when surrounded by enemies. Their courage was quiet, not boastful, and yet it inspired all who saw it. Finally, the human captain approached Valera. You need to understand, he said, pointing at the navigation display. The swarm is relentless. They will pursue, but we have a plan to strike back. Not now, but soon. You will learn, if you choose, to fight alongside us. To survive, you must trust humans. Fully. Valera hesitated. Trust is difficult. We have lost everything. How can we trust so completely? The human smiled faintly. You don't need to trust completely yet. Watch us. Learn. If we fail, you will know it. If we succeed, you will see why we fight this way. The aliens spent the next few days observing the humans at work. Engineers repaired damaged sections of the warship with astonishing speed. The humans worked in teams, each member knowing exactly what to do. They shared knowledge freely, teaching aliens simple techniques for survival in space. Valera watched as they demonstrated how to manipulate energy shields, evade enemy sensors, and repair critical systems even in the middle of battle. Kale's eyes widened in amazement. I have never seen efficiency like this, coordination like this. They are incredible. Valera nodded slowly. Incredible, yes. But more than that. They are selfless. They risk themselves, not for reward, not for recognition, but for others. That is unusual. It was during one of these observation sessions that the humans revealed the next phase of their plan. They were not merely rescuers. They were warriors, strategists, and protectors. The human captain explained that they intended to study the swarm, to find weaknesses to save not only the survivors but potentially countless others. They will fight for life, not for conquest, Kyle said softly. That is something we never considered. Valera's mind raced. The aliens had always relied on overwhelming force, numbers, and careful planning. The humans relied on adaptability, improvisation, and courage. It was risky, but brilliant. Days later, the swarm launched another attack. This time, the humans were ready. They deployed decoy drones, scrambled energy fields, and maneuvered in patterns that confused the enemy. Aliens watched in awe as humans turned the tables, making the swarm hesitate. Kale could hardly contain his amazement. They don't just react, they predict, they adapt, they improvise. That is impossible. Valera placed a steady hand on his shoulder. It is possible because they are human. They think differently. They fight differently, and for now that is enough to keep us alive. The battle was brief but intense. The swarm retreated, and the humans used the opportunity to jump into a safer part of the void. The aliens, exhausted but alive, began to feel something they had not felt in days: hope. That evening, as the stars glimmered outside the observation windows, Valera and Kale spoke quietly. "Do you realize what we have witnessed?" Kale asked. "Not just survival, not just skill, but courage, humility, bravery beyond calculation. They are amazing." Valera nodded. "I have seen many civilizations, strong, disciplined, even ruthless. But I have never seen beings who fight not for themselves, but for others. That is human. That is something different." Kale frowned. "Do you think they will save us all?" Valera's eyes met the human captain's figure across the room as he moved among his crew, calmly giving orders, checking systems, and preparing for the next encounter. She hesitated, then said quietly, "I do not know, but I believe they give us a chance, a real chance. And for now, that is enough." The human captain approached her, placing a hand lightly on the console. "You will learn," he said, "and when the time comes, you will fight. Not just for survival, but for hope. That is what humans do. That is why we endure, why we rise, even when all seems lost." Valera looked at him and then at her crew. They were battered, fearful, and broken, but alive. And for the first time, she felt the stirring of something she thought was gone forever: determination. "Very well," she said. "We will follow, we will learn, and we will survive, together." The human captain nodded. "Good. Then let us move. The swarm will not rest, and neither will we." As the warship powered up, diving deeper into the void, the aliens saw a truth that had been invisible until now. Humanity was unlike any other species they had met. They did not wait for fate. They did not bow to fear. They acted, they fought, and they protected life, not because they had to, but because they chose to. And somewhere deep in the void, beyond the reach of the swarm, the survivors of the coalition fleet began to feel something they had thought lost forever: hope. Hope that maybe, just maybe, humans could change the course of the war and save not just themselves,